Hey everyone, thanks for coming back for another segment of the MCR. Mac and me. My name's TJ. Clearly, I'd be shocked if someone wasn't aware, but yesterday, we are recording this on Sunday. Yesterday, there was an attempt on President Trump's life, and everyone and their brothers commenting on it, and we would be remiss not to share our thoughts on our events and our thoughts and suspicions and aftermath and whatnot. Before we get into the details of the segment, I just wanted to give a shout out, a huge thank you to those who watched and shared our previous video. It had unexpected success, and that would be an understatement. Okay. Just thank you, everyone. Thank you to whoever shared to the right person who shared to the right people. Just thank you. We can't thank you enough. So, uh, any thoughts or on
Yeah,
that, Mac?
if you like this channel and you're a patriot, not to say that if you're not a patriot if you don't like the channel, but because someone will say that. Yeah, share the videos. That's really important. That really helps us out. Putting a like on there is important. The comments are really important to help us fight against YouTube, who suppresses our videos.
Yeah, and just real quick for any new viewer or subscriber out there, we're just two average guys from Michigan, two working Joes, and I like to think of us as we're venting for the common man. Okay, we're not broadcast professionals by any means. We're just tired of the bovine excrement. I'll say. Okay,
Right.
so on to the segment. Thanks everyone. On to the segment. Uh, as we already mentioned, shooting yesterday in Butler, Pennsylvania. The uh, the attempted assassin or the perpetrator, the shooter, he is dead. Unfortunately, someone in the audience near the vicinity of President Trump, they also are dead. And I heard a report that two others were pretty badly wounded. Okay, so the shooter's dead, an innocent bystander's dead. President Trump, he uh, had a close call. They say his right ear was clipped. Okay, I don't know where exactly on his ear, but it's your ear's attached to your head, so we're talking 6 inches from massive damage. We'll say. Okay, Secret Service took out the shooter. I'd like to very quickly go through a timeline of events that I got from the news reports here. So, any thoughts, Mike, before I get into the timeline here?
Well, one of the things that I thought of immediately is, let's say the worst had happened and the president had been killed. I have to wonder how many people might be this week saying, well, this is what happens when you're a Nazi. This is what you get when you try to take away people's rights as a veiled threat to the rest of us.
Okay.
You know, the Joy Behars and the Whoopi Goldbergs and the Rachel Maddows and the Joy Reids of the world, and Chris Matthews, those people who are out there perpetrating this kind of rhetoric, that he's a threat to democracy and that your rights as an American are going to end. Well, they say these things and the nutters are watching their nonsense. And we got nutters on our side too. So before anybody even goes there, I understand this. So, but this kind of rhetoric fueled perhaps this young man's actions. We won't know
Exactly.
until we find out more about him.
You know what? That's if they tell us. That's if they
That's
decide
true.
to share it.
I said this in our pregame talk. Am I going to believe anything they say?
Exactly. Very quickly, the timeline: 6:03 p.m. 6:03 p.m. Saturday the 13th. Okay, 6:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Trump takes the stage during Lee Greenwood's "God Bless America." He's waving to the crowd. 6:05, the song concludes. He begins speaking to the audience. 6:11 p.m. As he's speaking to the audience, the shooter fires multiple shots. We're not sure as to how many. People are reporting hearing 8 to 10, but some of the shots they heard could have been return fire from the Secret Service.
Well,
So
I think they
it's
will certainly were.
yeah. So as to how many the shooter actually took, that's indeterminate at this time. Uh, Someone could be heard yelling, "Shots, shots, shots." 612 Secret Service agents jump on top of Trump and escort him off the stage into a vehicle. And I'll insert, if you see the video of when as the scene is playing out, the Secret Service agents have him surrounded, and as they're trying to pull him off the stage, he jumps up, raising his fist, and it's believed he was yelling to the crowd, "Fight, fight, fight." That's right now. That's believed what Trump was saying as the Secret Service was getting him off the stage. 6:14 motorcade leaves the fairgrounds. 6:42 Secret Service issued a statement confirming the incident. 6:42, something happened. At
Well, in one of the
6:49.
reports I was watching for ABC News, it was suggested by the reporter, and goes to what I believe is just dishonesty by them. And CNN, I heard, did a similar thing with Wolf Blitzer, made a similar comment that the president had fallen down on the stage. And this particular ABC broadcaster made a comment that his ear may have been injured when they jumped on him. Well, if you see the video, it clearly is not what happened.
Yeah, if you see the video, Trump's right hand immediately goes up to his right ear, then he ducks, and then you see, the Secret Service jumping on him. So, yeah, something happened to his right ear. Okay. At 7:49 p.m., Secret Service releases a statement saying they neutralized the shooter and that the shooter was dead. At 8:13, it appears Biden releases a statement. And Obama also released a statement somewhere around that time, both condemning the violence. And we on our side can question their sincerity. It was the proper thing to do. As to whether or not what they issued was adequate, it's it's the proper thing to do. So without nitpicking at the statements.
Well, what's interesting is, who gets the information faster than the president of the United States? Nobody. Yet Robert Kennedy was out there first. Robert Kennedy Jr. was out there first. And of course, this is a real close to home situation for him, given his father was murdered in the same fashion, and his uncle as well. And the Australian Prime Minister, and I heard his talk. He also was ahead of President Biden. Obama was ahead of Biden. Why would they have to drug him up and wait for the drugs to kick in so he could be coherent?
Well, you know what? Probably had to wake his ass up, man.
Yeah.
And that's not outside the realm of possibility.
Nope.
I have some thoughts on this, and suspicions, at the risk of sounding like a conspiracy theorist here. But the news reports were that it was an AR platform. You know what? Maybe sometime during the course of this coming week, that can either be confirmed or more details given. If in fact it was an AR platform, who knows what caliber? And they have not released the caliber. I mean, whether it be a 223, 5.56, could have been a 6.5 Creedmoor, 300 Blackout, or even a 308. You can have 308s in an AR platform. So, and as to the sighting optics on the thing, did he have any kind of a scope, or was he just using straight iron sights? Me being a kind of a firearms enthusiast, I'm genuinely curious. I'd like to see a picture of the rifle, just to have an idea as to what platform was utilized in this effort.
I have to think we'll get that in the next, if not today, then within a few days.
Leading me to my second point, and I kind of bounced this off of Mac here, but it's believed that he was probably within 200 yards of President Trump, but he was outside of what they refer to as the secured perimeter. As to whether or not he made the proper choice of weapons platform, who knows? I almost wonder if he might have been more successful with a good old boy bolt action and a decent scope.
At 200 yards, that's entirely possible. But
I mean,
you're talking a 20-year-old. Who I'm going to
exactly.
guess. I mean, I don't know anything about this guy's background. Let me preface that. But talking about it, that's in my book, from our point of view, certainly a kid. And of course, we're going to want to know what drove him to this. I don't know I'm sure they're already deep into his social media and looking for any manifesto, as that's a word they like to use for these things.
Yeah, different media outlets have identified the shooter possibly as a Thomas Matthew Crooks, 20-year-old. He's got long hair. Okay, but in any event, BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, BBC, interviewed a possible witness to the events, a guy who identified himself as Greg. He wore it looked like he was wearing like a red golf visor type hat. A lot of golfers wear those.
Right.
And it had the "Make America Great Again" on it and everything. And he referred to himself as Greg. He claims to have seen the shooter crawling into position prior to the incident. He claims he tried to inform law enforcement, so much so that he began to question why is President Trump still talking after he made the effort of. He said he was even pointing out the location of the shooter, saying he's right there. And of course, this Greg guy, he too was outside of the secured perimeter. He said that him and his friends were just gathered around out there, even though they couldn't see President Trump. They were just they figured, okay, we can still listen to the guy. Also, there's also questions that the roof that the shooter was on was at a higher elevation, a greater height than the perch the Secret Service were on. And personally, I got to wonder if that's true. Couldn't they have at least had a couple officers secure that rooftop, even if they didn't want to put snipers up there?
Well, you and I got about 75 years or so of security experience, and I think we would have done that.
Well, the forward observer in me from my old Army days, I might have said, hey, where's the highest point here?
Right.
But, hey, we're just two Joes.
Let me address that before we go too much further. The Secret Service is going to get ripped on because of this, but there might be an explanation for this. They have been, and I guess this will be verified in emails and requests because everything you do leaves a trail now, that they have repeatedly requested from Homeland Security greater Secret Service protection. Now, in an interview with Megyn Kelly that did with President Trump, she said she noticed, and she's a layperson, she admits, she said she thought the security for him was lacking then. And this was like in February that she did an interview.
And here's what I thought. Perhaps they didn't have that many sniper teams or counter sniper teams. All right. Okay, fine. I get that. That's why I said, can't you just put a couple officers up there to secure the rooftop?
Well, here's the thing, though. And what I was getting at is that they have been repeatedly denied by the Homeland Security Director for additional funds and additional assets to protect a presidential candidate. And, and they have denied Robert Kennedy Jr., people will kill him because of his name and because they're nutters. They want to make history, the third Kennedy, the curse is real, blah, 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 all those kind of nutcases. They won't give this man, and he's got double digits percentage in this in the polls. He ought to have Secret Service protection.
Well, to all the fence sitters and high-brow, high-road Republicans, wake up, man! If they want to do something like this to President Trump, they sure as heck would like to do worse to us, his supporters.
And will.
It's just you know what?
Well, you've seen
they've taken it to the next level.
You've seen the meme as many times as I have. if they treat us like this when we're armed to the teeth, and as a nation, we are armed to the teeth, what will they treat us like when we're unarmed?
Kind of all I got at this time. I guess I'm hesitant to give a whole lot more because things are going to change. Initial details released sometimes are not always accurate. Maybe we'll find out exactly the weapons platform the shooter used. Right now, I have to suspect, and with him only being 20 years old, he's probably not very knowledgeable of weapons at all. Probably hadn't.
Well, like I said, am I going to believe anything I hear? And so much of what you hear early on in these things ends up being not correct. But I heard he was Antifa affiliated.
Okay,
maybe it's time for the Democrats to step up, do the right thing, and declare Antifa a terrorist organization.
I guess that's going to be it. We'll call this one a wrap for now. Mac and I we're gonna try. It's hard because of the way, especially the way I work. Because hey, you know what? I'm a working Joe, so it's not like I can just get on the tube here and do my thing. So, hopefully in a couple days, when more information is released, hopefully it's accurate, we can share some more thoughts and updates and whatnot with our viewers. Just again, before we close, thanks everyone for the success of our last video. You talk about exceeding our expectations. That would be an understatement.
It went from number 822 to number 1 in about 68 hours.
We could only wish that all our videos enjoyed that degree of success.
Right.
So thanks to whoever helped us out there, So we'll call this one a wrap. As always, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.